Let's introduce myself. And my name is Anna, and I'm a Flutter developer, woman tech maker, ambassador, Google Developer Allen organizer, Meetup Google Developer Allen Group organizer, a member of Flutter Research community, and I'm delighted to be here today to talk about one of most critical aspects of building great Flutter applications, user interface, flow, and navigation. And today we are focusing on understanding these tools. Our goal for AI Flutter Club is, of course, to empower you to build intelligent applications using Flutter. And we have all experienced apps that just feel right. We are moving from one screen to another is seamless, intuitive, and almost effortless. That's the power of a well-designed UI flow. Today, we are going to explore how the incredible GetX library can be your ultimate roadmap to achieving that smooth, user-friendly experience in your Flutter apps. We will go beyond the basics, diving into how GetX empowers you to build screens efficiently, implement seamless navigation, manage uploads with elegance, and streamline state management as it relates to your UI's journey. Let's be honest. Building a beautiful Flutter UI is only half the battle. Making it truly flow for users is the other, often more challenging half. Many of us have faced moments where managing screens and navigation turns into a complex puzzle. We start with a few simple, for example, navigator push calls, but soon our code becomes riddled with build context dependencies, leading to tightly coupled UI logic. Every navigation action seems to require a mountain of boilerplate code, and then there's the inevitable headache of state management. For how do I update that list on the previous screen after adding a new item from a different screens? This often results in deeply nested navigator widgets, making our widget trees confusing and our code difficult to read, maintain, and especially to test. This is the maze we often find ourselves in. So, uh, this is where getting steps in as our guidance star. So, what exactly is GetX? At its core, GetX is a fast, powerful, and incredible lightweight micro framework. I can tell really micro framework. But it's much more than just a state manager, which is what many people initially know it for. It's a complete ecosystem designed to simplify almost every aspect of Flutter developer. Its core philosophy revolves around simplicity, unparalleled performance, and minimal resource consumption. For us, focusing on UI flow, GetX is a game changer because it eliminates the need for build context for navigation. Yes, it's true. And today I'll show you uh, how without build context for navigation and making our code much cleaner and more modular. GetX provides an extremely concise and intuitive API that drastically reduces boilerplate. Crucially, it integrates navigation seamlessly with state management, solving many of those data flow headaches. Ultimately, it significantly enhances developer productivity, allowing us, developers, to spend less time fighting with navigation logic and more time building amazing features. So, how to start? Before we dive into the exciting features, let's cover the first steps. Setting up GetX in your Flutter projects is really incredibly simple. So, because it's just package, first you need to add the GetX dependency to your project. For this, you open your pubspec YAML file, which is where Flutter manages all your project dependencies. And under the dependencies section, you'll just add get and last version. Please always try to use the latest stable version for the best features and bugs fixes. Once you've added the line, save the public YAML file. Or your IDE might automatically run Flutter pub get, or you can manually try Flutterpub get in your terminal, and exactly this command fetches the getx package and make it available to your project. Finally, and this is crucial step for getx to function correctly, you need to replace your material app widget with get material app in your main Dart file. This special getX widget injects all the necessary functionalities like its navigator, state manager, and dependency injector into your application's widget tree. Without this, getX core features won't work as expected. This is traditional navigation and this requires build context. So let's compare traditional navigation with getX navigation. And as you can see, of course, here we always need build context. But what about getX syntax? And now let's get into the core of getX navigation. And the first thing I think you'll notice is its most liberating feature. You don't need build context for navigation calls. It's true. This immediately cleans up your code and allows for much better separation of concerns. GetX's routing is unique because it's context free. This means you don't need build context to navigate. Show snack bar or open dialogues, which simplifies controller logic and makes testing easier. Later, in a few examples, you will see how it works. But before, let's look at the basic navigation operations. For example, get to. This is your go-to for pushing a new screen onto the navigation stack. You simply provide the widget you want to navigate to. Compare the traditional way with getX. The difference in conciseness is striking. To pop the current screen and return to the previous one, it's just get back. No context needed. No complex pop argument. Get off. Sometimes you want to navigate to a new screen, but prevents the user from going back to the screen they just left. Think of a login screen. Once you logged in, you don't want your user to go back to the login page. So get off handles this replacing the current route. Get of all, very useful. For more dramatic navigation shifts, like after a successful logout where you want to clear the entire navigation history and start fresh, so get of all is your friend. It pops all previous screens and pushes the new one. This simple method covers the vast majority of your navigation needs with minimal readable code. As your application grows, using named roads becomes indispensable for better organization and maintainability. GetX provides a fantastic, super readable way to manage this. This core idea is to assign a unique string name to each of your screens. You define these names and the corresponding widgets in a centralized list called Get Pages within your Get Material app. This list acts as your application roadmap, clearly showing every possible destination. So you see how much is human readable. And for example, in your code, instead of navigating with get to, our classical structure, get to some screen, you use get to named, and here name of your you prepared in your map. And exactly this offers huge benefits in readability. You immediately know what screen you are trying to reach just by looking at the road name. So, or this home screen, settings screen, user screen, etc. It also makes your navigation calls more robust as you are not referencing specific widget classes directly in every navigation call, which can help with refactoring. And whether you are pushing a new screen or replacing the current one, the to named and off named methods follow the same intuitive patterns. Okay, let's move fast. Dynamic parameters. This is often where the magic of getting named roles truly shines and was a point of confusion earlier. So let's deep dive into it. Imagine you have a list of users, and when you type user, you want to go to their specific profile page, right? You don't want to create a separate road for every single user. So this is where dynamic parameters come in. In your get pages definition, you can just use a colon followed by a name. For example, user ID to define a placeholder in your road path. GetX will automatically recognize this as a dynamic segment. And when you then navigate using, for example, this method get to named profile by, for example, 123, GetX intelligently matches 123 to the user ID placeholder. On the destination screen, in our example, for example, user profile screen, you can then simply access this capture value using get parameter. And get parameter is a map of strings where the key is the name you give in your row definition. In our example, user ID. And the value is the actual segment from the URL. And in our example, it was 123. Exactly this makes it incredibly straightforward to pass IDs or other unique identifiers to detailed screens, allowing you to fetch and display relevant data dynamically. So, beyond just navigating, apps frequently need to pass data between screens and even get data back from a screen. GetX offers powerful and flexible ways to do this, and I'd like to share with you how much is super quickly and easy. First, passing arguments. While dynamic parameters are great for simple IDs in the URL path, for more complex data, like an entire user object, a map of various settings, or a list of items, you will use the arguments parameter, and you can pass any data object, primitive, or collection. On the receiving screen, you simply access by get arguments to retrieve whatever you passed. Remember to cast it to the expected type. This is incredibly flexible and eliminates the need for complex constructors or global states for simple data passing. And secondly, refusing results back from a screen. This is a common pattern. You open a screen to select something or enter some data, and then you want the selection or data returned to the original screen. GetX makes this surprisingly easy. When you navigate using Get to, you can await the call. And then on the destination screen, when you decide to get back, you can provide as a result argument. That result will be returned to a waiting call on the first screen. This pattern greatly simplifies interactions like a select contact screen or a choice date picker. So, getting state management and dependency injection. This is where GetX truly integrates its power for a smooth UI. How it handles state management, especially when data needs to persist or be shared across navigation boundaries. GetX provides a robust reactive state management system. This is where GitX truly integrates its power for a smooth UI. How it handles state management, especially when data needs to persist or be shared across navigation boundaries. GetX provides a robust reactive state management system. You make variable observable using OBS and then use widgets like OBX or Get Builder to automatically rebuild only the necessary parts of your UI when those observable variables change. But the real magic for navigation is dependency injection. GetX has a built-in, incredibly simple and performant dependency injection system. For example, get put is how you put an instance of your controller or any class into GetX memory. Once put is available throughout all your app. You typically do this on your initial screen or when a controller is needed for the first time. Or get lazy put. It's similar but more performant for resources that aren't immediately needed. It only creates the instance when it's first request. Or get find is how you retrieve an already put instance from GetX's memory. Let's look at a concrete example. For example, a shared counter. In GitHub repository, which I shared with you, you can find this example also. So, we defined a counter controller with observable count. You can see how much is human readable code. You can understand immediately what's happened. On our home screen, as you can see, we get put this controller, making it available. When we navigate to second screen, we don't put a new controller. No, instead we get find the existing instance. And now any changes to counter controller count on second screen will automatically reflect back on home screen because both are using the same instance and OVX is reacting to its changes. And let's test this code. As you can see, we update property of variable on one screen and see the result at another screen. It's a magic. This completely eliminates the complexity of passing callbacks or using global state managers just to update a value after negation. So we update our variable on one screen back to another screen and see the result. All right, so we've seen how GetX controllers hold our logic and state, and now let's talk about their life journey inside your app. Just like a person, a controller has a beginning, a time when it's ready to work, and an end. GetX gives us special moments or life cycle methods to do things at these exact times. Why do we care about this? Well, it's about being efficient and tidy. We want our controllers to do their job, but also clean up after themselves so your app stays fast and doesn't use up too much memory. Let's look at the three main stages using user profile example, which you can find, of course, in GitHub repository shared with you. So, and here, for example, on init, the controller wakes up, and when it happens, as soon as GetX decides, okay, I need this controller now, this is even before its screen appears on your phone. And what you do here, this is a perfect place for any one-time setup. Think about facing initial data like the user's name or profile picture from the internet. You do it here, so the data is ready as soon as the screen tries to show it. On ready is the screen is visible. And when it happens, after on init and only after the screen has finished drawing itself for the first time. What you do here? This is where you do things that need the user to actually see the screen. For example, showing a welcome message that pop-ups or perhaps guiding the user with a quick tool. And of course, on close. It's time to say goodbye and clean up. So, and if you run this example from my GitHub repository, what you'll see in App and Console. In our example, when first open the app, you'll see the username as loading for a moment. And then you'll see a green message in your console saying on init called and waiting until this application running and see all of this. And After a short delay, simulating fetching, the name changes to from loading, it changed to Anna Muzykina. This shows on init kicked off the data loading. The very first thing they do is on init. This is when the controller wakes up and set up its desk. After on init finish setting things up, getX then waits just a teeny bit longer until the screen the controller is connected to is fully drawn and visible to you. Once that happens, onReady is called. And in our example, a moment after the Anna Muzykina name appears, you will see a yellow message in your console saying onReady called. UI is ready. And right on your phone screen, a small welcome user profile data loaded message will pop up at the bottom. This confirms the UI was ready to show that message. And now let's talk about on close. This is often the trickiest one to see in action clearly. And what on close actually does. This method is called just before your controller is completely removed from your phone's memory. Think of it like picking up your tools and leaving your workspace tidy. If your controller was listening to live updates, you tell it to stop listening here. If it opened a connection to something, you'd close it. This prevents your app from using too much memory over time. So, what onClose does not do, it doesn't automatically reset the text or numbers you see on the screen. When onClose runs, the controller is gone, but the visible screen itself is still there, showing the last values it had before the controller left. It's like if a shop closes, but its sign is still hanging outside. The shop is empty, but the sign doesn't automatically change. So, to recap the controller's life, on init is for your controller's initial setup when it first wakes up. onReady is for actions once the screen is fully visible to the user. onClose is for crucial internal cleanup, closing connections, canceling operations, and right before your controller is removed from memory. And to see a reset of your screen's data, you need to ensure a new controller instance is created, which usually happens by navigating away from and then back to the screen after the old controller has been disposed. To truly master getX and build applications that are not just performant but also maintainable and scalable, consider these best practices. First of all, keep your controllers lean. They are for business logic, not UI widgets. This promotes clean architecture and testability. Use getPut and getLazyPut strategically. GetPut is great for controllers that your app will definitely need right away, like, for example, your user controller. But getLazyPut is a performance optimization. It registers a recipe for creating the controller, but the controller isn't actually instantiated until its first request. Use these for controllers associated with screens that users might not visit immediately. Embrace named roles. As your app grows, using get pages for all your roles provides a single clear overview of your app's navigation structure. Utilize bindings for complex dependency injection. For screens that require multiple controllers or services, getX bindings allow you to group all the getPut or getLazyPut calls for a specific route, keeping your UI code even cleaner. Of course, avoid over-reliance on. Uh, for this option, you can use getFind. While simple for quick access, if you are constantly calling getFind everywhere, it might indicate a slight design issue. Consider if the dependency can be injected once at a higher level or passed down explicitly if it's not a truly global service. A consistent route naming, a well-defined naming convention for your named routes. For example, house, lodging, product detail, ID. It makes your app structure immediately understandable. And of course, error handling. Always guard against nulls when accessing get parameters or get arguments, as they might not always contain the expected data. So, why should you consider adopting the getX roadmap for your Flutter UI? The benefits are clear and compelling. Unmatched simplicity and conciseness. You've seen how much boilerplate code getX eliminates, allowing you to write more meaningful code. High performance. getX is built with performance in mind, ensuring your app remains fast and responsive. Strong decoupling. It elegantly separates your UI from your business logic and navigation concerns, leading to a much cleaner, more maintainable, and testable code base. Boosted developer productivity by simplifying common tasks. getX frees you up to focus on building amazing features rather than wrestling with framework specifies. Integrated ecosystem. It's not just a navigation solution, it's a complete package that integrates state management, dependency injection, and more, all with a consistent API. And actively community and documentation. getX boasts a large and active community, and its documentation is constantly improving, providing robust support as you learn and grow with it. getX empowers you to build beautiful, flowing Flutter UIs with ease, allowing you to innovate faster and deliver a superior user experience. And here are some other popular state management packages in Flutter. You maybe know about this. And along with why getX is often highly recommended. For example, other recommended packages provide Flutter's official recommendation for state management is provided. It's based on inherited widget and is very easy to learn for beginners. It's particularly good for passing data down the widget tree. And you can use it in small to medium-sized applications on where you when you want a simpler, more Flutter native approach. It's great for learning fundamental Flutter concepts. Of course, Flutter Qubit stands for Business Logic Components. It separates business logic from the UI using streams. Block is more even driven, while qubit is simpler, using functions to emit new states. Both emphasize clear separation of concern and stability. And of course, if you wonder when to use in large, complex applications where strict separation, scalability, and robust testing are critical. It has a steeper learning curve but offers great control. Riverport, of course, concept route provider designed to be more robust and safer, especially regarding compile time safety and dependency management. It addresses some limitations of provider. And if you wonder when to use, when you like the provider pattern but need more safety, less boilerplate, and better testability for complex dependency graph. And if you're still wondering why GetX is often highly recommended and why it might be the best choice for many, from my side, uh, all in one solution. It's true, GetX isn't just a state manager. It's a micro framework. It handles state management, simple reactive with this OBS and OBX, and simple state management get builder. Dependency injection, easily register and retrieve controllers or services with this get put, get find. Route management, context-free navigation, get to, get back, get off all named roads and dynamically URLs. And utilities, snack bars, get snack bar, dialog, SAMs, internationalization, etc. So, performance, GetX is known for its performance, its reactive state management. Only reveal the widgets that explicitly depend on the changed observable, leading to highly optimized rebuilds. For many common tasks, GetX offers a very concise and intuitive API. It significantly reduces boilerplate code compared to some other solutions. Getting a basic reactive counter or navigation setup is extremely quick. A major convenience is being able to navigate or show snackbars from anywhere. And GetX has a large and active community. So, from my side, GetX strength lies in its comprehensiveness and developer productivity. It provides almost everything you need out of the box in a highly performant and easy to use manner. For many developers and projects, especially those looking for a fast development cycle and a unified approach, GetX is indeed an excellent and often best choice. However, if your project has very specific architectural requirements or if your team is already deeply familiar with another pattern, then alternatives like Block, Qubit, or Riverport might be preferred. So, routing in Flutter from a box generally refers to using Flutter built-in navigator. So this is screenshot from official documentation, and feel free to inspect this part, read and decide from your side what is better for you. But in conclusion, using GetX for routing compared for Flutters from the box navigator, especially navigator 1.0, primarily offers a huge leap in productivity, code readability, and architectural clean, cleanliness by eliminating build context dependency for navigation, providing a more concise and intuitive API, seamlessly integrating with state management and dependency injection, simplifying common complex tasks. So, what to choose depending on your project, of your skills. But as for me, I have experience with GetX routing, and for me, it provides an excellent balance of simplicity, performance, and features. So, thank you so much for your time and attention today. I hope this detailed roadmap has classified how GetX can revolutionize your approach to Flutter navigation and UI flow, making your development process smoother and your apps more delightful for users.